This is the Ortega method for solving the 2x2. Now, the Ortega method is an intermediate method that is pretty fast. You can get sub 5, even sub 4 with this method if you practice it a bit. And it's not that hard to learn, with only 12 algorithms split into 3 steps, which would be solving one phase, solving OLL, and then PBL, or permute both layers. So what are we waiting for? Let's get into the first step. So let's get into the first step of Ortega, which is solving one side. Now, in 2x2, you should be color neutral. So you should be able to solve with any color on the bottom. But just for simplicity, I'll be solving with white bottom, which is yellow top. And the first step will be making the white side. And remember, this is just one side, not a layer. So we can do stuff like this. This is okay because we have the white side solved. Remember, it's not a layer. A layer would look like this. This is a layer. It does not have to be. These colors do not have to be connected. It can be a little bit like that. And I think you can figure this out pretty easily. But basically, what you want to look for is any bars. If you see a bar, like here I see white bar, here I see a red bar. So here I might do red as the first side. But once again, we're starting with white. So here I see one bar with white, then I put that on the bottom and just build off of that. So here I could do that, get that piece in, and then just a 3-move insert. And now I got the face. So this one's a bit self-explanatory. So after a bit of practice, you'll be finding some pretty efficient solutions. Next up, we'll be solving the top layer. So we have both layers solved with OLL. Now this is basically the exact same as 3x3 OLL with all the cross-solved OLLs. So you can just use those same algorithms and recognize it in the same way with the corners and where the yellow is on the corners. And that's how we're going to recognize it into it too. But if you just want some refreshers, or you maybe don't know OLL, then we'll just go through all of them right now. So first off, we have the H case, which is a bar of yellow and a bar of yellow opposite each other. So there and there. And what you want to do is, there's 2 algorithms here that I recommend. First one is pretty easy to remember. It's bar front, bar back, F triple sexy, F prime. And the second one would be bars to the left and to the right, like this. And then you do R, U, R prime, U, R, U prime, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. And then we got the top layer. And next we have pi, which is a bar and then 2 opposites. So we have a bar of yellows on one side, and on the other side we have one facing you and one pointing away from you. So you want to hold them in this orientation, so the bar to the left. And then you do this pretty simple algorithm. R, U2, R2, U prime, R2, U prime, R2, U2, R. And then you can see that we have the yellow top. And now, after pi, we have anti-soon. Now, this one's pretty easy. There's 2 main ways you can do this. The easier way, which I don't recommend, because you want to keep it all to the same hand, because regripping is hard with, especially on 2x2, because an R move is just an L move, and an F move is a B move, basically. But the easier way to learn, but the one that I don't recommend, is just left soon, which is basically soon with your left hand, which looks like this. But what I recommend, let me just get this back. What I recommend doing instead of doing the left soon version is put the solved corner to the back right. And remember, anti-soon is when these corners that are not facing upwards, they're to left, left, and left. So put the solved edge to the back right, or sorry, the solved corner, that is, to the back right. And then you just do soon, but backwards. So R U2, R prime, U prime, R U prime, R prime. And that solves it. And then, of course, we have regular soon, which you use this in beginner method, so everybody should know this. It's just put the solved corner to the left, front, and then you should have on all the rights here should be a yellow sticker. So yellow, yellow, yellow. And then this one's pretty simple. You just do soon. R U R prime U prime. Sorry, not U prime. R U R prime U R U2 R prime. Pretty simple. And then now we have L, which would be two corners opposite of each other that are facing upwards, and then two facing you and to the right. And you hold it in that way. And there's two algorithms for this. No, there's only one actually. There's one algorithm for this, and it's pretty simple. It's just hedge, right? That's what it's called. Hedge, reverse sledge. Yeah, hedge. And then inverse sexy. Once again, that's hedge. And then inverse sexy. Or in the notation, it's F R prime F prime R U R U prime R prime. So there we are. That is L. And then we have T, which is literally the exact same thing as L. Just you have the bar right here, and then two opposite here. It's a bar on the top, and then it makes a T basically, there and there. And this is basically the exact same algorithm as L, except backwards. So it's sexy sledge, not the hard. Sexy sledge. And sexy sledge, that's R U R prime U prime, R prime F, R F prime. And then finally, we have U, where there's a very simple one for this. It's literally just bar top, bar left, F sexy F prime, or F R U R prime U prime F prime. This is like the easiest algorithm. It's just F sexy F prime. And now we're done with OLL. Now next up will be PBL, which is where we're gonna solve the rest of this cube. So now let's get into PBL, which is where we're gonna solve the rest of the cube. And to recognize the cases here, we look at if there's a bar, no bar, or if the layer is solved. So basically, bar, solved, or unsolved. And we'll start off with this one, which is called adjacent diagonal, or I like to just call it bar, no bar. So bar, no bar, and when I say no bar, I mean unsolved. So bar, unsolved. And then for this, you want to have the bar in the front, like this, and then you do this very, very simple algorithm. It's just R, U prime, R, and then flick F2 here with your, what's this, your ring finger, middle finger, and then you do the first three in reverse. So R prime, U, R prime. Once again, it's R, U prime, R, flick with ring middle, and then R prime, U, R. One final time, R, U prime, R, F2, R prime, U, R prime. And then we have adjacent, or what I like to call bar, bar. And it literally just looks like one face and then the rest unsolved. And remember that it could be a blue and a green line, or a blue and a red line. You gotta keep an eye out for that. But this one's also pretty easy. You want to hold the two solved bars at the front facing you, and then you do R2 U prime B2 flick with point index, this index, right? Pointer, index finger, or whatever, and the middle finger. So flick B2 like that. And then U2 flick with your pointer, index finger, pointer finger, whatever, and middle finger of your other hand. And then R2, and then U prime, and then R2. So once again, it's R2 U prime, B2 flick, U2 flick, R2 U prime, R2. One foot on time. Here you can see that we have an orange and blue bar, but it's still bar. So bar, R2 U prime, B2 flick, U2 flick, R2 U prime, R2. Now this might be one of the easiest ones. This is what is called diagonal, or what I like to call unsolved. And it can either look like a checkerboard on all of them, this weird thing, or just like this. There's no bar on either side, basically. And here, this one's probably the easiest. It's just R2, F2, R2, or R2, B2. So just R2, flick, R2 on either the front or back. Both of them work. I prefer doing the back. Some people prefer doing the front. It's literally just R2, flick, double, and then R2 again. And then we come to the ones that you should already know if you know PLL in or for 3x3. This one's pretty easy as well to recognize. This is literally just T-perm or J-perm. You can choose either T-perm or J-perm. And you can recognize by literally just seeing it's a T-perm from 3x3 PLL. Or one solved layer on the bottom. So you have a solved layer. If it's on the top, put it on the bottom. This is the only problem with Ortega. You might have to rotate. But you put the solved layer, so solved layer right here on the bottom, and then you have a bar on the left. And then all you gotta do is just T-perm or J-perm. So T-perm, that's R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, F, R2, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, F prime. Then we're solved. But you can also do J-perm, which is R, U, R prime, F prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, F, R2, U prime, R prime. And both of them will solve that case. And finally, the final algorithm for today. This one is solved unsolved, or I think it's diagonal U. No. Yeah, diagonal U. Who cares? Solve the bottom layer and then unsolved top, and this is just Y-perm. So it's just F, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, F prime, and then it's just sexy sledge, or R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, F, R, F prime. And now we're solved. And that is the Ortega method. So just to recap, first off, you solve one layer. Oh, here's a good case why you want to be color neutral. Here I can just insert the yellow, and then I have a layer. And then you do OLL with one of 7 algorithms. And then you do PL or PBL, which is one of 5 algorithms. Now, if you want to get faster at this method, maybe get below sub 5, around or below sub 5, what you want to do is be able to plan your first layer in inspection, which might take some practice, but it's usually 2 or 3 pieces you have to track. But here you can, yeah, this wasn't really the best, but there we go. And then you just want to be good at recognizing your cases. You don't want to spend too much time recognizing which case you have. And then, of course, if you can predict what case you get, then that could also be good. Unfortunately, I don't have any tests for that. I can't do that. But yeah, look ahead. predicting the next case is very important, so you can try working on that as well. And yeah, that's just it. 2x2 is really fast, so you just gotta, yeah, be on your toes and hope for a good scramble. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and comment any tips, tricks, or video ideas. Don't forget to check out the +2 podcast, because the next episode's coming out this Wednesday. So yeah, be ready for that. And check out my new vlog channel, which will be linked in the description. No videos out yet, but they will be coming. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and booyah!